You would have received an invitation link. The number at the back is really your unique unique number. Think of it as a voucher code, which generates so it takes care of things behind the scenes, basically. That's where you would come. The idea here, what we didn't want, if we show you the process for creating these wallets, it is very cumbersome. What we want to do is take the friction out of it. So by default, it will create a secret key there. You can generate a new one. It will warn you that if you've copied it, you need to recopy it. The important bit here is these keys, they don't make their way to the server. If you look at the traffic, it's pretty obvious what's happening behind the scenes, but this is all generated on the front end. We have no visibility of it because of the sensitive nature. That's essentially your password to your bank account. So if you've got it, please keep it safe. Don't share it with others. And if you lose it, we can't help. We've already created a good set of zombie coins because of a defect which Adil unearthed. But really, we have no sight of this. So let's say I generate that key and I copy it. So use that little feature there. The passphrase is really protecting your information on your computer. This can be anything like I love ice cream. So I'm going to just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right now. It's device specific. So if you were to use this key on another machine, that will be a different password. You can still use the same one, but it's used to locally encrypt your information so that you don't have to keep re-entering it. It does make you click a lot of boxes because there is the point we're making is don't lose your key, really. At this stage, you go ahead. If all works to plan, what's happening is behind the scenes, it's doing multiple transactions to create your wallet. If you heard the beep, I received a notification to say a wallet was created, and it's showing a balance of £0 there, 0 SOS. Is a public key that is perfectly safe to share. Again, depends on how safe you want it to be, because everything in blockchain is open. Everyone knows exactly. So if I go to the Explorer, the SOS balance is 0. What I've got is, so this is a cost we incur right now to do this particular thing. But what we are doing is transferring some SOS XLMs into your accounts to enable trading and transactions. You don't need to worry about it. It takes a very small amount. I think it takes 0.00001 per.
Yeah, I just sent 5 SOS to you.
You send me 5 SOS.
Yeah.
If you see how fast this is, so this is where it was. If I just refresh it, if all goes well, Manan's transferred 5 SOSs. So that's the beauty of blockchain. And he said, gift from gift ACC. Basically, that's the
account. Yeah.
More text is provided. Now, that's great. So if you look at your, if you were, let's say, if I go back to the wallet, and if I go away from this site, let me just go to Google and then come back to small outside. Oops. And if I go to the wallet, naturally it's going to lock it so that if somebody had unauthorized access to your computer, they can't go in. But I think I put 1, 2, 3, hadn't I? Okay, I think I did put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 maybe. So there you go. I've got information is right there, and I can see the SOS balance right there. Now, what you're seeing is the start of a platform. We want to open source it, build out enough functionality there for SOS to be transacted between SOS holders. The vision we hold for SOS, in fact, why don't I go to Stellar Explorer and show you this view? So this is not built by us. This is built by Stellar. It is open source. We can go and create our own. If you feel like, you can even donate to their coin over there. We've donated to their coin and we're waiting for them to just accept our donation. But if you click through on SOS, you see how
Mhm.
SOS is faring right now. So we have a total supply of 1 billion coins, and it seems like a big number, but when you start thinking of how we are planning to use it, it probably is not that big. And at some point, if we've reached the threshold and there are no more SOSs there to give out, then the only way is to increase the value of SOS in the market. But our intention is to not release the 1 billion coins at a go. They are there for a reason, which is to serve as an ecosystem for new startup ideas. Which can have their own crypto assets, because these are essentially smart contracts. So that's what these SOS coins will be used to convert in from one smart contract to the other. They'll have their own residual, own not residual, but own value as well. Like it shows here, it's trading at 8.829 of a dollar. So it's gone down a bit. The I don't think there's enough transaction to indicate that has gone down, but it's mainly because the price of XLM, which it is pegged against, is fluctuating. This is the example of why the airdrops were very bad. The volatility index is massive. It wasn't. It was somewhere in the 10-20% until we did the airdrop, and people who received free money suddenly decided to sell it for silly value, like you will see 002 XLMs. And it's just, yeah, when you get things for free, people kind of don't realize why you've done that in the first place. So, but this one is a view which kind of starts giving you a view of the asset. So it's been around since December last year. So you've got the age factor. We've been using payments. We've been doing a lot of gifting, which is increasing the weekly volumes. Interoperability, it's mainly with XLMs. Not so many trades, but we are starting to see those. Trust lines is when people trust the coins. We are starting to see a lot of trust lines build up as well. Liquidity is zero naturally because we've only traded $200 worth of coins over there. So, but it gives you an idea on how this is being. The data comes through from the blockchain. Everything's transparent, so you will see who's behind it, what their objective is, their address, email address, even the people behind it. So not many people know me by my full name, but there you go. That's so the principle behind it is also published publicly, and that's how trust gets created on these things. So that's blockchain. Manan, is there anything else that you think is relevant? Um,
Uh, I don't think so, but I had a question. Did you copy the private key which you had just generated?
Good point. We've
Yeah,
created
I
zombies
think
again.
we just lost five yesterday.
Oh, yes, we lost five
Okay,
SOSs. There you go, and a few excellents, but there you go, serves me right. In fact, it should be on the screen because it was on the screen recording. We can
yeah, we can just retrieve it from
manually
recording.
type if the screen recording is working. It'll be a long typing job, but we'll get there. So, does that give you a idea? As in, what we are showing you is, as in, if you look at this, you will see the candle charts as well. So you can go here and zoom in and see how this coin is trading. Those big lines are people selling it for throwaway price, and that is where the price was generally balancing until recently. Um, just thinking, what else is there to show? You can do this. What we are building, you can do exactly the same thing. If I wish I'd copied the private key, I would have taken you to other exchanges where you can do things and how you can build trust lines and so on and so forth. I think that Chris?
I have a question. Just say, for example, if Adil and I want to work on something and Adil is offering a service as a part of the network, and I
Mhm.
say, Adil, I will, through small outside, give you 200,000 SOS coins, and that's our contract. So is this how SOS coins are going to be used as a currency?
Yes, but in many different ways. So one is very much we are looking at how we can use it as a tool to exchange value between ourselves, because it, we don't have to use real money because this will have a monetary value attached to it through mechanisms like these. Uh, Initially, in fact, what we are doing right now is the payment that Manan is receiving, what I'm receiving, what Sherry is receiving, what Meena is receiving is all coming in SOS coins. So it's the trust we are putting into it. It's likely it will result in a zero value. If on 31st December we decide this is not going any further, then basically it will have no value. So if in that example, if Adil and you were trusting this coin for your transactions, then absolutely you could do it. The wider use we have is a slightly different one. So in our vision, and if I use your example, Dinesh, of the Web app, um, platform that you want to build, that will require money to get it off the ground. The the coins, the crypto assets are essentially contracts. They are smart contracts where you could reach out potentially to individuals who want to work for you in exchange for SOS contracts. Sorry, your own contracts. You may have a Ware coin, for example, which is pegged against SOS. That's where we want to be. So one SOS coin may be worth 10 Ware app coins at some point, and those coins become your contract with people who are collaborating with you. At the moment, what happens on startups is people come forward to help the founders. The founders are all very happy to collaborate when they are still nobodies. And the moment they become somebodies, they start forgetting the contribution of people who helped them. So what we want to do is use crypto assets as a means to create those smart contracts between people who collaborated on ideas, so that when revenues start flowing in, then those smart contracts are honored and the value is exchanged, and everyone gets rewarded based on how they had contributed. Lots of modeling needed there, but certainly a focus area for us. Yeah, does that help?
Yes, thank you. Many possibilities, I guess.
Yeah, blockchain is it's unimaginable potential. So we are also looking on the topic of blockchain. We are also looking at how we create. There is already work happening. I think Velocity Framework is also doing something on the same lines, probably bigger and grander. Our approach to this was pretty simple. What we find is there is currently an inefficiency in the job models or the job market, where especially short-term contractors who move from one company to the other face the same questions, the same paperwork, everything is exactly the same. And that ends up taking a good part of 2 weeks on the critical path when they should be ideally working and the project wants them, but the paperwork doesn't allow them. So we're looking at how we could use blockchain to actually capture those validations. So if, let's say, Joe went from company A to company B, then Joe's records are on the blockchain and company B can simply look at it and say, yes, there is a backing here. These records were validated and therefore I can trust them. And we're also looking at how we monetize so that when Joe's records are looked at by other consultancies or agents who want Joe's time, then Joe is actually making money as and when his records are being checked. So there is a way you can almost reverse the whole model here, where the value of putting your data on the blockchain, and again, we're not talking about sensitive data that's almost there in public domain for most of us, but data that will help expedite our engagements, but also create value and reduce the nuisance calls that we see from people who are really building CV databases. So we've got various purposes and uses for blockchain, although whether we do that through SOS or a separate blockchain solution is to be seen.
Good. It's a good start.
Yes, and we want to make blockchain easy. We want to improve the adoption. At the moment, there are far too many, as in if you really want to see what it looks like behind the scenes, it's Stellar, keep forgetting, laboratory. So if you wanted to do some work, that's what you would do. So the bit we showed you, you would create your key pair, that there's your key pair that's done, then you go through a process of creating these. It's a very complicated, very geeky. If you wanted to transfer money, you go through forms and you create transaction references and all. Now, what Manan's done is he's actually automated a lot of this simply behind the scenes. When you click that button, that's the magic that's happening behind the scenes. And we just want to do more and more of this to simplify the adoption. There are platforms which do this, by the way. We just want to build our take of it.